Hello there, Christian here, and how many more angles can I fit in this house to finish all my vlog videos? Many. So, today is Reading and Northern Memories Part 3, and technically this is another memories video where we have now reached Part 3, not counting last year's video, which was grouped together Pennsylvania Steam Memories, I believe was the title. Alright, so now let's go to what I dubbed to be my favorite railroad, the Reading and Northern Railroad. Now, I said that in my March video. I don't even remember when I said it was my favorite railroad last year. And while it has kind of grown old to me with the amount of times I've been to it over the past few years, it still has a charm unlike any other place in the country. But I definitely will admit, when I said it was my favorite railroad, I think it is one of the best railroads in the United States. But I think there are other better railroads, and that's not a debate I'm going to entertain in this video, and I do think there is some other better steam programs. But they do have one of the best. They are one of the friendliest. I'm glad we have a railroad like the Reading and Northern Railroad. In 2021, I didn't really know what to expect with the Reading and Northern Railroad. I didn't know what type of excursions they were planning, but I was definitely hoping for a return of the Fall Foliage Excursion, the Mountaintop Excursion. I forget when it was announced, but Chris Bost, a Reading and Northern engineer, last year became sick with a neurological disorder, I believe it was. Very rare one. Early this year it was announced they're going to have the Chris Bost Benefit Excursion. And it would run from Minersville to Port Clinton and back to Minersville. And without saying the name of the engine, you probably all know it was the Central Railroad of New Jersey 113. Now, at this point, it had been over 3 years since I had seen the 113. She is probably tied with 7470 as my favorite switcher. I really couldn't honestly tell you which one I like better, other than, holy cow, they both put on a good show, but I think the 113 is better by about that much. I mean, they are literally just pieces of metal here. So I knew I was going to go to that. This was the first excursion the 113 pulled going to Port Clinton and back in 5 years, I believe, at that point. I believe the last one was in 2016, so I knew I wasn't going to miss it. And then not too long afterwards, they announced that the Reading and Northern 425 was going to be pulling a series of excursions out of Tamaqua for their annual Summerfest. And these excursions were styled very similarly to the Christmas excursions back in 2013, I believe. So I already knew I was going to make a weekend out of it. And then my good friend, GT Railfan Productions, and I chatted about it, and we decided we were going to ride together and chase the 113 and the 425 together at the Reading and Northern. Now, there was one point when I did suffer a little bit of burnout, and I didn't think I was actually going to make it. But after a little bit of a rejuvenation at the end of May, I realized I couldn't miss these excursions. Heck, CNJ 113, the Chris Bost Benefit Excursion, as of right now, is my 5th most popular video. Over here in Hamburg, New York, standing by the steam locomotive I've pretty much grown up with, and Gabe Thomas is here.
Hello.
GT Railfan Production. This is the first time seeing 4483. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. We are departing real soon. 4 o'clock in the morning. We're almost ready to depart.
What was that?
It says 4 o'clock in the morning. We're almost ready to depart.
Yes, sir.
Alright, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Are you ready to leave, Gabe?
Yes, sir.
And I won't quote the use the entire next 40 minutes totally. Sunrise.
Shaking like. Hey, let's go.
Hey, and guess where we're at? At the end of 99 and at the start of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I saw 113 in 2019, but I had an idea of shots I wanted to try. The day started out with great sun, her facing south, the light was just perfect on the engine. So, trying to get shots that I wanted to see would work with her facing south worked out great. And I still think the best shot of the day came from her charging through the Schuylkill train station. And she put on a show even going down the grade. I believe she was going down the grade through there because she works up the grade to Minersville. Someone correct me in the comments. but they were also going to turn around the turntable. A weekend beforehand, they wired her in Port Carbon. While there was a diesel at the end of the train, it was really only there for the purpose, in case 113 breaks down, and to tow the train back to Port Clinton at the end of the day. She put on a fantastic show going to Port Clinton, got some great shots of her in Port Clinton, and then we chased the afternoon session. Now, here's where the video fell apart in my personal opinion. The shot under the signal bridge went great, but the one shot I really wanted to get of her in Cressona, my video camera stopped working and I had to go with stills. So if 113 pulls a round-trip excursion to Port Clinton again next year, I'm literally only going back to redo that shot. Going back to Minersville, it just rained. One of the shots we barely got to in time, I had to hand-hold it. Another shot we got, which was a cool angle, I had to sit low. And then the last shot, we were just completely soaking wet. And that day I saw Big Banana Rail Fan Out, Curtis Huey, Keeper of Steam, Big Jim, Frickerson Productions, East Penn Productions, Keystone Rail Productions. There was just so many people out that I honestly forget truthfully who was all there. I could not get over the crowds. They literally had big boy sized crowds. It gave me flashbacks to chasing big boy in Wisconsin and Illinois. The next day was the first time I was going to shoot the 425 on something other than Lehigh Gorge trip since 2019. Now, I always jokingly say I had the luck of catching 425 with 3 chimes, but I want to say this year, I literally caught the locomotive more with 3 chimes than I have any other whistle type this year, and it kind of annoyed me a little bit, but not enough to where I'm going to be like. But I guess my thing is, I think 425 sounds great with Steamboat, 5 chimes, and 6 chimes. To me, 3 chimes just don't fit her modern personality. But whatever, I'm just glad to see she's still running and they put on a fantastic show. She ran through the Nesquehoning Underpass faster than I've seen her go in the past. And we had a little bit of a hard time catching up with her. But after she ferried in Wide and Hawks, me and GT would chase over the course of the day, picking out shots in Tamaqua that I wanted to get, East Manahoy Junction, an S-curve that I do want to redo someday. They did one trip going south through Zainers. I got a shot through Zainers and New Ringgold. And I actually finally shot at the Zainers crossing for the first time ever. I also was able to frame a classic Ford Thunderbird in a few of the shots, which were fantastic. Now, 425 that day, Warren, Pennsylvania, 3 chime, and she sounded fantastic. And on the last trip of the day, they even wired her, and there was one moment, I always jokingly say, I cannot imagine 425 getting louder, and she destroys my expectations each year. 2017, it was Marion Ave. 2018, it was Hometown Hill. 2019, it was at the Whitehaven Tunnel. 2020, it was the cab ride going through Glencoe. And this year, it was her climbing up at Marion Avenue again. And I swear, that is the fastest I've seen 425 go. I have no idea how me and GT actually caught it at the different spots we did. It was a great weekend, and I knew I wanted to return to the Reading and Northern Railroad after that. Yeah, Jesus Christ. So, we just got done. The diesel's towing them back to Port Clinton, or to Jim Thorpe, which is a thank Jesus because I didn't want to add another 2 hours onto the ride home tonight.
I would have been driving though.
Yeah, so we're currently...
Did we actually find NRFF?
We found NRFF, we chased 425, we chased
I was so
113.
happy when that unit was leading, because I was like, what are the chances? And then I saw white and black, and
I was hoping
like,
for
let's
that,
go.
I was hoping for that or the RJ Corman Heritage Unit.
RJ Corman, the red one?
That's what we jokingly call the red one.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I'm surprised we got the 2 shots that we did after, I thought he was going to be struggling up the hometown.
No,
or not hometown, the grade there.
They can now do 40, so...
That's whack.
So, yeah, we're coming up into hometown, probably the last cluster, but 4.5 hours till we get home. More like 4. We're now coming up on New York State, thank Jeebus. And yeah, back home and out of PA, thank Jeebus. Another 2 hours. Unexpectedly, I originally had other plans the 4th of July weekend when my vacation time got denied. So I ended up planning on going to the Wilmington and Western Railroad for one day on the 4th of July and then to the Lehigh Gorge because there was some other shots I wanted to get at the Lehigh Gorge, there were shots I wanted to redo. Instead, my friend Train Chamber and Ty the Train Guy Productions, who was up in the Northeast, again, seeing steam, convinced me to go to the Black River and Western Railroad. Now this year there will not be a Black River and Western Railroad Memories video because I've only visited the railroad twice, but I do want to say it was great seeing 60 back. The next day the next 2 days, on the 4th and the 5th, I would spend chasing 425 in the Lehigh Gorge. And this time around in the Lehigh Gorge, I didn't think the show was as great as the year prior, but I was more insane with the hikes, and I just worked my way in back to Jim Thorpe. But I got more of a variety of shots I wanted to redo and shots that I wanted better, and I was quite satisfied with what I did. And believe it or not, I am itching for another Lehigh Gorge trip because there is still some shots in the gorge I think I could do. Currently just sitting here, waiting for 425.
I like Christian's mom.
That's fine. I've done it before.
Christian school. Day 1 she wore a Nathan 3 chime. Day 2 she wore a Redding 6 chime, and I thought that Redding 6 chime sounded fantastic. Now after this, I would only make one more visit to the Redding in Northern this year. Originally I was planning on going all out for Fall Foliage this year like I did with 765 Steam in the Valley, and then the last run of the 6988 came up. And when I found out about the last runs of the 6988, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go the first weekend that I was planning on shooting 425 for Fall Foliage. I was going to go see 6988, which I'm glad I did. But I kept my Halloween plans to go down to the Redding in Northern. That weekend, I caught her with 3 whistles, even though she ended up wearing 4. I caught her with the B&O Turner top whistle, a Norfolk and Western hooter, which sounded fantastic on her and, you know, helped prep the mood for 1309. And, of course, the last day we caught her with another Pennsylvania 3-chime whistle. I'm just going to say, like I said, 2 weekends prior she wore the Boston and Maine 6-chime, and then she wore the Redding 6-chime. And I just think 6, 5, and steamboat whistles fit 425, but it's not about the whistle. I mean, we all have preferences. Mine lie with steamboats, 5 chimes, and 6 chimes. I think that's what 425 sounds great with. But you know what? It's their engine. It runs. That's all I care about. This year's Fall Foliage video to me didn't really stand out to me as a classic like 2018, 2017, and 2019. But you know what? I made the best of it. I got 2 overcast days, whereas the second day the lights started peeking out in the afternoon. Everyone was saying 425 ran faster this year, and I did not get that. For the Fall Foliage weekend, I saw Big Banana again, Keeper of Steam, Curtis Huey, GT Railfan Productions, Big Jim, Blue Comet Productions. I know there's a few people I'm forgetting and I apologize, but that's what happens when I try and do this off memory. But this time around, there was a few shots I wanted to redo. I didn't exactly get to redo all of them. I have to redo the Tamaqua Tunnel shot because that is the day I broke my still camera. And it was actually at the Tamaqua Tunnel when I dropped it and didn't realize I dropped it. Yeah. And some guy actually stood in my shot, if you noticed. But he was set up there first. But I do definitely want to redo that shot again next year because if there is for 2022 Fall Foliage, I do plan on at least spending a weekend there. Probably not 2 this time. But I was able to get shots that I'd never got at the 425 before. The station being moved back to Molino was cool. Finally getting the hometown high bridge was awesome. And I just went out and did the best I could. And you know what? For the 2 days I had, it really turned out great. The hometown high bridge shot made it worth it. And I even got a better shot of the Hamburg Bridge going southbound. All in all, it was a fantastic weekend. And that pretty much closed up my visits for the Redding and Northern in 2021. 2022, I will tell you this, if Mountaintop returns, you can expect me there. I'd like to get a weekend to Lehigh Gorge. Fall Foliage, definitely. But I will say this, if 2102 defeats this year, I'll be out for that. But 425, I know this is their last year of operation before 1472 day unless something changes. So I would like to get a few more videos of 425. Anyhow, I'm Christian. And next up, it will be Iowa Interstate Steam Memories video.